Action tonight. And as we start to set the stage here, Sauger, it's two phenomenal tracks here to really set the scene here, set the environment for an action-packed finale. And fill you in on what's going on because we do have I am still here. I am on free Denny's Wi-Fi right now, but I am still here. Without further ado, let's throw you trackside here and fill you in on what's going on with our narrower cast of cars out on track tonight, but still a phenomenal show coming your way. It is Daniel out on top, currently your runner-up in the championship standings. We do come into this weekend with Josh as your leader. He's fourth right now out on track, about a third of a second off of pace. But we look at where things are at on standings right now. Josh, your leader at 864 points. Daniel just 9 points back at 855. You look even further back, even David has an outside shot as well. Runner-up right now in qualifying, but third in the point standings with 806. You look a little bit further back, and then it's a couple of individuals who are going to need a little bit of a Hail Mary. I think Vicente is technically out of the running, but he's not here tonight. Andres at 758, going to need a little bit of an early Christmas miracle to get things going here, but still looking to end on the highest of highs. So still genuinely anyone's game as we head into the finale, and this is a place that breeds chaos. We welcome you to Sebring International Raceway in the heart of Florida, home of the Sebring 12 Hours, and with that, IMSA always visiting here, home of the real life MX-5 Cup. Always a phenomenal place, a classic venue that really needs no introduction, but it's all about the bumps here, Sauger. Daniel dialed in nice and early here, just under 10 minutes to go for race number 11 qualifying. And I think always talking to new people when they're about to go to World of Racing, hit me up and say, I want to go try out these Sigma Integrale full motion systems. What are what are the tracks I should try out? What are the cars I should try out? And off rip, it's always Laguna Seca, so you can experience the corkscrew, and Sebring, so you can experience this corner right here, the sweeping right-hander of turn 17, the Sunset Bend, unpaved for pretty much, I think we're getting to maybe 5 decades of unpainted asphalt there, and it has been described by sports car pilots as a free spinal realignment, if you will, one of the bumpiest parts of a racetrack you're able to really experience in modern day motorsports without having to go to a street circuit. But definitely one of the big challenges of this racing circuit. Mark, we ride on board with, watching him in the 87 right now, as looks like a little bit of a shuffle up front as well. That is Josh promoting himself up into the field as well, outside of row 1 provisionally. That is big time implications there for the championship fight. But we look at Mark here in that black and gray 87 coming to the stripe for the first time. A lot of guys not really able to get to full song just yet. Again, struggling so much here, just getting a bad hops and bad parts of the racetrack. This place bites you back really quick if you do not get things figured out quickly. Sophomore start for Ray. He's in 9th provisionally. We saw him last month. And for Andres, what can he do right now from 5th on back? Here's Cody in the Pennzoil 60, or excuse me, this is the lime green 60. Always easy to see the Pennzoil black and white Bumblebee machine, but it will be the lime green kind of creeper car of the 60. Gosh, you can see how much that back axle is jumping around there as we work our way out of turn number 13. That's the tower section, the third kind of section of the racetrack. Quick flick to the left here with Bishop, and we'll find someone here in a little bit to give you a full onboard with. We got 7 minutes. We can absolutely do that. Plenty of runoff there on the outside of Le Mans. We work our way down the Ullman Straight. We'll keep it on board with Cody right now as he tries to catapult himself further into the field, and pray that the commentator's curse doesn't strike us, because the amount of times we've given people onboards and they decide to get a little bit too ambitious. But man, Sunset Bend right now giving you a great example, not just with wheel movement, but how much the hood is pitching up and down. We talk about how this car separates itself from sports cars. So much suspension travel compared to a GT3 or a GT4 car, which means it's really able to take this much more easy than other cars. Flying lap though from Sebring, turn 1, long high-speed left-hander. Gotta really be careful on the outside there with the sand on the outside of turn number 1. Turn 2, actually a flick to the right before we work our way through 3 and 4. One of the big names of the game here at Sebring. Constant change of width of the racetrack. What becomes an overtaking opportunity can suddenly vanish, especially when we're working through Big Bend here. You can see the tire bales kind of almost bottlenecking through the bridge, but another great overtaking opportunity going to be right here as we work our way towards the turn 7 hairpin. What's our braking point going to be here, Cody? Right before the 150. I like it. You got plenty of runoff here as a little bit too much right foot. You can see the opposite lock there as we work our way towards Fangio. Overtaking also possible here. It's the straight that really isn't a straight here, the 8 and 9 complex of Fangio, before we get on the brakes big time here for turn 10. Cody, you can see how much all of that weight shifts to the front axle when you're on the anchors into turn 10 and 11. Long sweeping left-hander here as we work our way through Collier, and we get to the point where we rejoin Cody in the first place. 90-degree right-hander here of the tower. And we talk about the pack racing element of Sebring. This is absolutely one of the places where it's going to come into play, not just in Fangio, but here as we work our way through Tower, through Bishop. And the name of the game here through Le Mans 15 and 16, all about trailing as much as possible, rotating the car carrying that momentum because you've got the longest straightaway of the track coming up right after the Ullman Straight in the run into Sunset Bend. Plenty of runoff on the outside. Won't necessarily bite you back if you dare, but this is going to be absolutely the time where if you're making moves, you're making the intentions early. I'm making a look to the inside. I'm trying to go 2 or 3 abreast here into one of the widest and bumpiest corners in motorsport. Cody Tokyo drifting that thing. You could see the opposite lock in the 60 working his way out of the final corner. That becomes limbo with the tire bales on the outside as well. How much speed do you dare to carry through the final corner of the racetrack? To the stripe for Cody. Is there going to be improvement here? Not enough. Still just a tad over a second off pace. Just talked about playing chicken with that outside wall in the final corner. Think that was a little bit of a lick sauger with the outside wall for Carlos. Not able to improve there. Should also mention, should also mention World of Racing showrunner Donovan Janis, I believe, also joining us back in P11. I'm not sure if he's actually on track or if he's also chilling in the pits. He is on track, as there he is in the 61. And since he's probably hearing me say that, I'm also going to mention that this is a great time to capitalize on World of Racing's Cyber Week specials. 1 race for $39, 3 races for $99, 5 races for $125 in the Racer Special. That's 10 races for $199 across both of our California centers in Pasadena, just off the 210 freeway in Tustin at the District Mall. Visit worldofracing.com to learn more. Offer expires and is just for a limited time. So we just get to the 2-minute warning here for round 11 qualifying. Daniel and Josh getting tight at the front row here with 52 thousandths separating your front row. And again, we talk about our top 2 in the standings. You almost get the feeling it was destined to be this way, but just behind you still got David, Ali, and Andres looking for a little bit extra in here to get a little bit closer, maybe kick over some sandcastles in this championship fight. Josh doesn't need much, less than half a tenth here as he works his way out of out of Le Mans. Looks rock steady in the run here to Sunset. Extra sense of physicality. I think also an extra sense of, or an extra emphasis, shall we say, on consistency, right? Because these cars are going to load and unload in weird places that might not make sense in certain parts of the corner. And I think you get a really, really good combination here. I think by and large, it's a power course. You're going to have that draft packing aspect, especially in the run from Le Mans to Sunset Bend. But you've got a lot of really, really high-speed corners, especially working in this back half of the racetrack. Hairpin, Fangio, Collier, trail braking, rotating the car, going to be really, really important here as Josh goes just a smidge wide there through turn number 2, not able to hit the apex as he works his way out. We look a little bit further back in the running order. Cody only needs about 3/10 here to work his way further up in the field as well. A couple of sophomores here. Cody, I believe, if my memory serves me right, joined us for rounds 1 and 2, and this could be his first race back. Carlos, I know it is his second round back, joined us for the first time last month, looking to end his sophomore race, or excuse me, sophomore week, sophomore pair, if you will, on a high note as well. Checkered flag out for round 11 qualifying. Ollie first to the line will not improve and will settle for P4. Same with Ray. But it is all eyes on Cody, Ali, David, and most importantly, Josh here to see if they can move their way forward and maximize their championship chances. It'll be Cody to the line for the first time, just looking to catapult himself further into the lineup. Very shallow on exit there, not really running it wide, carrying any momentum. We'll see if that helps him in his run to the stripe. It does, up to P5 for the 60. So it'll be all, yeah, go on. I think in a sprint racing kind of environment, not particularly. I think this isn't like the Pro Series where these guys are going to be able to learn a lot from their competition around them. You're going to learn how to coexist, but the racetrack, the environment, how they battle is going to change as we see the checkered flag. No positions gained for Andres. I think it is. Sebring has that extra element on it. I just mentioned the bumps being a really interesting wild card, with every lap just being a little bit different, because even in that millimeter of braking at a different place, carrying a little bit of extra speed, the camber in bumps of the road is going to do some weird things to these cars that the drivers might be caught off guard a little bit with. That's going to be perfectly fine in sectors 2 and 3, because you've got seas of asphalt to really go and save you. But you look at, the ultra fast turn 1 and things tightening up out of turn 5 into the big bend. You are doing a lot of learning on the spot. You're building the plane as you fly it when you are, door to door with a lot of these guys. So it's going to be that perfect mix of adaptability and aggression that's going to be required to get things done. But that'll be a wraps for qualifying for round 11. Daniel and Josh on the front row, followed by David and Andres. And wouldn't you know it, 1 to 4 on our starting grid just happens to be our 1 to 4 in the exact same order on our championship standings. Again, a 9-point gap between Josh and Daniel, 864 to 855. Then it'll be 806 for David in third, and Andres back with 758 points. I'm not even sure if Andres mathematically still has a shot at it. Most you could win in a single race is 100. So I believe that is technically still making things possible. Heck, I might actually give a shot to Vicente. I'm not sure if that actually gives a shot to Vicente, because I think lowest amount, if you see the green flag, I think still might be low 60s. So we'll call it 80-point deficit. I'm liking Andres maybe as a shot here, but more than likely, I think David's going to be in your outside bubble here for your underdogs. But I mean, we've got a heavyweight bout out in front of us with Daniel and Josh. These two have been going at it pretty much all season long. And it comes down to this, the boiling point. Oh, for sure. There you go. Yep. Not really. We'll have to see if that changes. We talk about the chaos that MX-5 Cup, the door-to-door racing, especially on the opening lap, tends to inspire, shall we say? And we've seen some guys make some very big moves very early on. I think Andrew Jan has been a phenomenal example of that. Obviously, his dad kind of taking his place tonight. Quick shout out. He's not here, but another guy we normally see in the MX-5s in the Pro Series, Troy Ferguson, not joining us tonight, has been kicking butt in Malaysia. Just did the FIA Arrive and Drive series, and believe was I know he was the winner. I'm trying to remember the class. I believe it was 13 and under. So definitely a very, very bright future in motorsports for that kid, whether it's in the virtual or certainly in the real world. Very cool for us to be a part of that. But a lot of very, very young talent getting there, having their first chapters of their racing career written here at World of Racing, whether it's in the GT3 series, which we still might see come back here in the next couple of months, whether it's in the MX-5s or whether it's in, of course, the Pro Series, which we will have coming up next week. Very, very cool. While we're waiting to grid here, just a quick run of future events here for World of Racing. Formula One race night, as is tradition, Tuesday after every single Grand Prix. We'll be, don't have the exact time, believe 8 p.m. as per usual. We'll do that for the last time this year after we crown a Formula One world champion in the three-way title fight at Abu Dhabi this Sunday. That'll be Tuesday night, I believe, at all 4 locations. Just before that, though, the Nordschleife at 2.4 hours. We'll be running that at both Tustin and in Pasadena. That'll be this Sunday, the 7th, at our California centers in Tustin, in Pasadena. And then, of course, exactly a week after that, it'll be the big show, the World of Racing Invitational. All of our qualifiers across the Pro Series, believe double-digit drivers trying to work their way towards big-time cash prizes. Not going to be one you're going to want to miss. For all information on future events, visit worldofracing.com for more. We'll step away for just a moment here while we wait for the cars to grid, but do not go anywhere. Round 11 and 12 from Sebring International here on the World of Racing YouTube. back, David and Andres, your championship 4, all in contention. Let's try and get some championship implications here. Let's go racing at Sebring. Phenomenal start there from Daniel as Andres tries to make some moves on the whole shot. Here comes David all the way to the inside. We'll go 4 abreast in the run to turn number 1. And David all the way down to the left-hand side wall will take the lead on the inside. Here comes Daniel as well. We're still 3 wide to here. Josh and Daniel trying to shove it through in the run into turn number 2. Who's going to be too deep on the brakes? Josh sends it just a smidge too far. David out in front. What a start.
Really was a great leapfrog moment there from David on the rest of the field to shotgun himself up the inside line into P1 there on the run of things. Andreas now has his work cut out for him, and so does the rest of the field to catch back up to the rest of the group that's battling out in front. Cody falls back down into P6 now. Wait, no, goes back up into P6 as he continues to battle with Alberto, and he's just 1.2 seconds behind Ali, currently 1/10 up the road.
Alberto saw him going 3 wide. He might consider running it back here. Thinks smarter of it, but jams on the inside here of Carlos trying to go wide. 1 car around further back. It's Andres in the Pennzoil machine. Cody getting a position as well, as I believe that was Ali going off track as well. It was the 71 going to the side. I think that's to give that position back. Might have been the guy that actually initiated that contact with Andres. That is heartbreak for some of the drivers that were trying to make a half-court shot to make those moves for the championship. Doors banging here in the battle for P2 as Daniel chucks it up the inside here as we work our way into Le Mans for the first time. Daniel up into P2. Back and forth we go. David, though, out of nowhere, continues to work his way out in front.
But how much longer can he hold on to this gap for? If the boys behind settle down, he could lose a 7/10 second gap. But side by side is the way we're going to run things going in towards turn 17. And are we going to get some touching, just barely avoiding it between the 23 and the 7-0? It'll be nose to tail right now, but they're still losing time to the car in front. That'll be the number 62 of David right now. And a little switchback is going to try to get engaged as Josh goes to the outside line for corner number 1, tries to swing it and pinch the number 70 to the inside line. Doesn't do a great job of it, but does get the extra speed and momentum that he needs to carry it all the way down towards turn 3. Goes again a little bit deep and long there, and now it's going to be a continued drag throughout turn 5 switchback to all the way down to the hairpin corner.
These are expensive moves, because all this is allowing is David to continue to run away with the cheese. But again, we look at this. David is just going to close that championship gap. These two individuals know this could mean a championship lead at stake here by the time we reach Sydney in 20 minutes, in 16 minutes as a matter of fact. So Daniel starting to close that gap on the championship lead to Josh. Your leader in the points is in 3rd. Your runner-up in P2. And the battle for 2nd on track could be the battle for the championship. But the more these guys continue to throw haymakers at one another, that's going to drag Cody into the mix. Watch that lime green 60 just a little bit further back in your picture. He might continue to work his way into the mix as well. But if this continues to stand, if we threw the checkered right now, this is absolutely going to be a battle down to the final lap come Sydney. Josh absolutely needs to make this move right now to try and give himself that little extra bit of insurance. Heck, he'd like the lead right now, but he's got to take care of that purple 23 first. A little bit wide there from Daniel there as we work our way through Le Mans and out of Sunset. Again, prime overtaking opportunity. Is this going to be clashing or cooperation? Maybe a little bit of a shove here. No move yet from Josh in the run into Sunset. And now I think they are actually interlinking bumpers just a smidge. Yes, they did. I think that was less for cooperation and more maybe to try and give him a Dale Jr. bump and run. You can see how wide of an arc there Josh is trying to run there in very deep, but taking the late apex to try and slingshot out. It's not necessarily helping, but these two have suddenly started to work with each other a little bit more, and you can very quickly see that gap on track start to work its way back down. Was as high as a 1.5 seconds. Now it's down to 9/10 once again between David and Daniel.
That's great to see, honestly, because I was worried that the battle between Daniel and Josh was going to keep itself up and David was going to escape with a free clear run of things here at Sebring, but that's not the way we like to see things handed over. For the most part, I like to see it battled out on track, and if Daniel and Josh can work their way into a clean and fair battle with David on the racetrack, I would love to see that. I think that's what everybody wants to see, and it's mounting up to be something as the 70 nearly goes deep and into the 23, or maybe didn't go head over heels.
There was contact, Stalker.
Yeah, and then carrying enough speed to fall in love with, or at least fall head over heels for it, and then run deep and wide. Now 62 escapes with its life yet again. My goodness. You couldn't write this.
Was a big lazy slide further back for Josh. And I think it was an attempt there at the Dale Sr. bump and run, but maybe carried a little bit too much speed because, man, Daniel stood on it, but still didn't have enough. Got into that big lazy slide. Josh, no smoke, but was definitely getting close. We look through the eyes of Daniel here in the 23 as he tries to mount that move back. A little bit of contact there, bumper to bumper, but again, it's just trying to shove one another to try and close that gap to the white and gray machine out in front. David, that gap going back up to was about 1.4 seconds halfway through this lap, a couple of corners back, but now once again we see these guys kind of locking in. Everybody going defensive though. You can see everybody weaving to the middle of the track, to the inside of the corner. But what's this going to be from Daniel? Are we going to see a move here into Sunset? Who's going to go on the anchors latest? Very late from Daniel. That'll give him the opportunity to lunge here into Sunset. Not quite. Big slide there. Look at that opposite lock from Daniel, just trying to keep the car pointed forward, and that'll give a little bit of breathing room here for Josh. Lap 3 in the books, 2:29 last time by from David out in front. Gap continues to stay at about a second, and for the first time here in round 11, we see a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of a gap between our two championship fighters.
This is spicing up to be something, because all this help from Josh and Daniel and them working together, interlocking their bumpers and shoving themselves forward, that has gained them a significant amount of time coming down that back stretch. They're nearly up about half a second alone coming in through sector 3. So if they can keep that up, they can work together effectively to catch back up to David. For how long is that strategy going to keep themselves healthy for? Right now it is David, Josh, and Daniel leading in the 1, 2, 3 currently, with Cody running in P4, Carlos in P5, Alberto in 6th, Andreas in 7th, Ali, Donovan, Ray, and Mark running out the 11 MX-5 drivers tonight.
And a little bit of a bobble there from David in the lead certainly makes things interesting. That lost him about half a second of advantage for the lead, and all of a sudden Daniel gets a seat at the table as well. This is very quickly becoming what could be a 3-car battle for the race 11 lead. It was going, I believe it was a little bit too late on the brakes into the hairpin of turn number 7. We saw him go a smidge wide, did not even get close to the curbing, and that is what's allowed these two to get back into the mix. Do these two see the golden opportunity that's in front of them, or is Daniel too hungry to get this position back? Let's see as we work our way back through Le Mans. You got to imagine David certainly starting to feel the pressure of these two behind him. He's had a heck of a show in his rear view mirrors, but very quickly he's become a part of the main event. Everybody defensive all the way to the inside as we work our way down Ullman. Further back, Cody paddling with all that he can muster to try and work his way into the fight as well. Drag to the outside from Josh. He wants to jam it to the outside, but won't be able to get there. This could be a move for P2 as Daniel tries to jam it to the inside. Is there enough speed? Is there enough grip on the low line? There is, but Josh might have the speed. Two abreast here as we work across the line. Who's got the momentum? The outside very quickly becomes the inside. This could be a move for the lead. Little bit of a peak there, but Daniel trying to hang it around the outside. Nothing but blockbuster moves here in the top 5, whether it's been to get there or to defend it. And Daniel, somehow, some way, able to work his way into the lead at turn 3.
Blockbuster moves, nothing else to be said. Couldn't have staged it better even if he wanted to. With 9 minutes left to go, Daniel performed some hard-pressed overtaking to get around the likes of David and Josh through Sector 1, but it's not hard fought and over with yet, as David and Josh still on the pounce coming through the hairpin turn. Want to change the order of operations here for 1, 2, and 3, but stiff competition here as we come down into the Fangio chicane for the 4th time of asking. It'll be hard pressed to get anything to be squeezed from this man here, as it looks like he's going to be pressed though from that 62. David, Collier Curve really wants to change things up quicker rather than later, I guess.
Again, this is worst case scenario right now for Josh in P3, because not only is his main championship adversary in the lead, he's 2 spots behind. This is pretty much the maximum points he could lose in advantage here. So all of a sudden, you get into the racer's mind here for Josh in the 70. What's the move? Is it wait for David maybe to try and make that move again for the lead? Or do you maybe try and get a little bit antsy here for P2 and try and self-service that for the lead? I think immediately you're starting to see that gap widen now between Daniel and David, and maybe that answer is becoming a little bit apparent. I've got the pace to get to Daniel. David, you're maybe acting like maybe a little bit more of a roadblock. Still plenty of racing to go here with 7.5 minutes, and all of a sudden this could become a move for the lead from David, who could potentially get it back. Daniel running a little bit wide, doing the late apex. That's been the favorite for a lot of these drivers. We saw it in practice. We saw it in qualifying as well. No move being set up just yet. Who's got the most momentum? Does anybody have a run here as we get lap number 5 started? Daniel fastest that time by. Here comes David with another peek to the inside of turn number 1. Not able to get there just yet. And the man who stormed his way to the front in the opening lap, in the opening corners, is going to have to wait just a couple more opportunities. He might lose P2 here, because here comes Josh to the outside. Going to try the long way around into turn number 3. Shuts the door on him. It's P2 for Josh.
Wow, really well executed. Wheels off into the grass for Daniel. Is going to slow down his charge next to the number 70. It's going to be slow running, but now will it be cool running between himself and the number 62, who's going to try to make it 3 wide looking into the hairpin turn, but please do not do so for the love of God Almighty. They make it through cleanly, because the 70 is on the outside line, the 23 on the inside, and the 62 falls in single file line for now. Through the Fangio chicane though, it's not the same situation. They go continue their side-by-side operation, and there goes going to go the 3x3 situation, going down into Cunningham, and the 62 slips it up the middle of the number 70 in between the 23 sandwich and slides right on by. That's David with a slick move up into P2 for now.
Working our way through tower we go, and David with another peek to the inside. Is he going to get any help from Josh further back? Not quite. As we work our way through Le Mans, Daniel able to carry just a smidge more momentum, and all of a sudden Josh getting a golden opportunity now around the outside. Could set up a switchback here, working his way out of Le Mans. This has been some brilliant battling here in race number 11. Sebring giving us nothing short of absolute cinema. Daniel getting a phenomenal launch there out of Le Mans, but in downforce, in slipstream we trust for David and Josh. No defensive line All of these guys hugging the left-hand side of the track. They want to carry as much momentum, take as wide of an arc as possible into Sunset Boulevard. How different are we going to try things, though, to complete lap number 5? Here comes Josh with a peek to the inside. That will give him the preferred line, but is there the momentum? Daniel able to hold that lead for the time being. Does David have anything in the tank to swing back for P2? That's lap number 5 in the books. And pretty much all drivers in this 3-pack have led at this point except Josh. Could this be the lap that this changes? Great blocking from Daniel to this point, but we're starting to see some cracks in the armor. Here comes David once again on the outside, trying to make the switchback work through turn number 3. Not able to get there.
Really interesting the way the drivers are posturing and maneuvering their cars on the racetrack. You got to remember, this isn't GT racing. This isn't floor pedal to the metal, drive as fast as you possibly can racing. This is momentum based racing, so where you really have to posture yourself thinking 3 or 4 corners in advance. Where do you want to be and where do you want to conserve your momentum and that energy? That way you're not deploying it at random or being used at random. You can see that as you watch Josh posture himself to this inside line right now out of desperation and necessity. But
a little bit wide. Oh my goodness.
Well, pushed out
Auger just got
wide by the 62.
Yep, Sauger, he just got fed the door there.
Yeah, not the way you intended things to happen, but anything can and will happen in motor racing. Right there, Jackson?
Definitely some aggression. The MX-5 racing we're a little bit more used to maybe in the real world. There is David. I'm not going to say that was intentional, maybe just a smidge too late on the brakes, but regardless, had the door fed to him by David. And all of a sudden, it becomes a very similar picture to the start of this race. Daniel back out in front, and, David out in front now. But Josh continues to stay kind of in the middle of this sandwich, the meat of this sandwich, if you will. And at this point, he's almost going to be asking David for a little bit of spare change, a little bit of extra horsepower, if he can give him the bumper. But this is, again, exactly what Daniel wants to close this gap. Josh in an ideal position, but he wants to stop that bleeding. He wants to keep that lemon and yellow 62 in his rearview mirror to maximize this points, to be as even as possible in the standings by the time we reach the finale here in just 2 minutes time. 2.5 minutes, or less than 2.5 minutes on the clock. This should be the last time around. It's been a phenomenal battle out in front, but we check in just a little bit further back. Ali on the comeback drive to the front of the field after some early carnage at the start, trying to put a move on Andres. These were the two that got into each other, believe coming out of, believe it was turn 10. And they continue to not only charge forward with one another, but battle with one another.
Yeah, and it's great that Ali... Ooh.
Looks like Andres goes around. Yes, he makes contact with Andres. And just like that, a carbon copy of what we saw a couple corners earlier. Let's check back in with this lead because David was able to fight his way back up into P2, but it was a Herculean dive on the brakes there from Josh to get P2 back. And that's completely severed Daniel from this 2-pack behind them. It will certainly be Daniel walking away with this win if he's able to chain a handful of corners together here to the run of the checkered. But who's going to be on that second spot on the podium? David trying to do everything he can right now. The man who had a phenomenal start has finally dropped back to P3 and is running out of time, running out of options to close this gap down.
With just 35 seconds remaining on the clock as drivers come through the final corner now, Le Mans corner, and into the Ullman straight we go. Then into the final corner, that'll be Sunset Bend. We'll begin the final lap for the final time, or will we get one, Jackson, because we've got about 12 seconds left on the clock.
It's going to be close.
Well,
I think David's going to know that as well. What are we going to see any Hail Mary send here into Sunset Bend for the final time? That'll be all she wrote. Checkered flag coming out this time by Daniel. Gets exactly what the doctor ordered, will improve his chance of a championship battle, and we will be almost dead even when we get to Sydney Motorsports Park, because Josh is able to fend off David for the second 2 spots on the podium. Cody bringing it home in P4, Alberto 5th, Carlos in 6th, with Ali, Andres, Donovan, and Mark rounding out your top 10.
Really was a phenomenal drive around a very, very tough and challenging race course. So I'm very pleased with all the, just to say it, the lack of incidences that took place here tonight. No egregious moves or sends, no crazy spins or anything of the like, or yellow flags being called. So I'm very pleased with the results tonight. Heck of a drive between Daniel, Josh, and David. It always blows my mind, only because I can't do it, drive bumper to bumper with someone for next to 4 or 5 laps. It's just phenomenal that these guys were able to do so for 4 laps continuously, bumper to bumper, nose to tail, without stopping.
Still, your move of the race, I think, undoubtedly belongs to David with that nuclear start. Sends it 4 wide from the outside, or from the inside of row number 2, and gets his way into the lead. And even with a P3 finish, that is a drive that is nothing to shake your stick at. We'll stretch here for just a minute and get rewired, get restacked for the grand finale at Sydney Motorsports Park. The curtain call for the World of Racing MX-5 Cup coming up. Stay with us. And with that, we head south of the hemisphere and we welcome you to Sydney Motorsports Park, the home of Australian motorsports, first built in 1989, known at the time as Eastern Creek International Raceway, got the new name and the repave in 2012. It's hosted the Supercars Championship, the Sydney 500, one of the first supercar events under the lights. It hosts GT World Challenge Australia, Lamborghini Super Trofeo, Australian MGP. It's our home for the grand finale of Season 2 of the MX-5 MX-5 Cup. Let's take a ride here with Josh around one of the biggest and baddest in Australia. We're going to right through turn number 1 here. You guys are going to notice a trend very quickly in this at this track, and it's flat elevation change, not necessarily super much a factor, but it is still high speed, higher commitment here as Josh leads the rest of them to the line. Oh, actually, we'll go a little bit off pace here, as again, this is absolutely, looking at our group of drivers, I imagine a track that's going to be very new to a lot of these individuals. But we talk about, by and large, what the kind of trend of this track is. High speed, very, very high commitment, a couple of spots with a little bit of camber, but you don't see that real stop-start kind of sharp corners like we do at Sebring, like we have at a lot of the tighter corners we've gone to. Tsukuba, a great example, but very much a time attack circuit. Great combination of corners, but you're never really going below 50 miles an hour in these MX-5 cars. I think that was pretty much the slowest corner we saw there, turn 8, and these guys aren't even going below 60. So we talk about an added importance here for draft, because making haymakers, trying to make something work really, really late on the brakes, the dive bombs are going to be few and far between here, Sagar.
Which leads to an interesting style of driving, and aggressive stacking styles as well aren't going to be as successful as those that are a little bit more patient. Josh gets to the line. Can they find their improvement that they desperately needed to clinch onto? No, not that time around at the very least, but Daniel leads Josh, David, Cody, Andreas, and then Donovan in P6. But as I was saying, the different types of attacking styles, right? There's going to be the one-offs. There's going to be the low percent success moves. Those will still work here, but obviously will not be as successful as those that are set up 2-3 corners back. Thinking of a track like Suzuka, right? Where you really have to set things up from a couple of corners back to get them to be successful in the long run, rather than just making dives happen left, right, and center. So I think some drivers will be able to exercise that caution perchance, and other drivers may catch themselves making a little bit more familiar with the concrete barriers here.
Working our way back through turn number 7. Another great overtaking opportunity coming up as we work down the hill into turn number 8. A little bit off camber here, so definitely going to be important. The footwork here as we work our way on the gas. 9 and 10, very fun combination here. Left-right flick before a long sweeping left-hander, the carousel, to work our way back onto the Babham straight. We already know these cars eat curbs for breakfast, so we might see some guys have some late lap sends. We'll have to really wait and see. But as we work our way back onto the Brabham straight, we're already seeing, as mentioned, the importance of the draft at this course. This track actually having 5 different combinations, running the Gardner Grand Prix circuit, but also in an extended circuit that kind of goes a longer route from turn 6, that kind of square section on the right, but this is very close to the original Grand Prix circuit that we had from 1990 up until 2011. Actually, a shorter version as well here, the Druid North circuit. That is just flat out top speed, pretty much skips that entire sort of box section from turn 4 to turn 7. And then, of course, the Amaru South circuit, which is the very kind of clubbish circuit. You see the start boxes actually right here, I believe. Yeah, there they are. So the start start finish line for the club circuit right here, the Emerald South circuit. So a lot of different combinations here. Very much an active track throughout the year, only about 22 miles south of Sydney in Eastern Creek, one of the suburbs. So really, really solid weather year round. Really suits club racers, really suits regional racers. Not necessarily pro MX-5 drivers, but definitely a spot where you see some of the more SCCA-ish Miata Cup style of racing. Very comfortable racing in these kinds of environments. 10 minutes to go. Daniel out in front, exactly what the doctor ordered, as he's trying to capitalize on that win from Sebring. Josh from nowhere, though, able to find some pace as well, P2, with David and Cody. Cody trying to go a little bit further there from his 4th place finish at Sebring.
Trying to find any improvement out there, but can't do so. Josh and David falling into that single file line, but we still have 10 minutes left of qualifying time left on the clock, folks. That is plenty of time for things to get changed up. The order of operation as well as the weather. Man, Jackson, if I didn't know any better, I would start thinking that it would be raining here in about 30 seconds or so.
Not reflective of the actual track surface here. 37 degrees Celsius on the track, 26 Celsius ambient. We'll try and get that converted over to Fahrenheit when we can, but it is plenty spicy out on track right now, and in a course where things are constantly turning, you really don't have a lot of time to breathe. We might need to have these guys looking down at the steering wheels, looking down at the dashes just a smidge more here, and monitoring those pressures, monitoring those temperatures. I'm not sure if there's anything we can really do to combat that. We're on a fixed setup all the way down to the tire pressure, but we might need to see some guys back out a little bit, do a smidge more of conservation, but we shall see as we work our way down to just over 8.5 minutes to go. Daniel and Josh still out in front. Looking a little bit further back, Ali now works his way up into 4th. Cody back down in 5th now, with Carlos, Andres, Donovan Janis, Mark, and Ray rounding out your top 10. Minute I say that, Alberto gets to the line in race week number 2, gets his way up into P7. Still plenty of reshuffling to go here for round 12.
Alberto throws his name into the mix right now, up into 7th place. Good looking for them so far. Like as you mentioned, it's only their 2nd week of racing with us here with World of Racing and the MX-5 Bumblebees. So great to see new names and great to see good competitors out there. Josh, however, trying to change things up for Daniel, still 2/10 back. Can he do anything about it? He's nearly gained a half of a tenth through sector 1, but I don't think it'll be good enough through sector 2. If he can maintain some relation of that delta through each sector, he could possibly make up that speed, but I don't think he'll have it in the bags, unfortunately, as he looks like he's going a little bit slower now.
Talked about it earlier about just the way this course kind of acts, and very much a momentum-based kind of circuit, right? You need to chain everything together. You need to keep your speed as high as possible, but you kind of get the feeling that there's no such thing as just messing up one corner here, with things constantly going from right to left, very much like if you're running at Tsukuba or running at Suzuka. I think Watkins Glen, you mentioned before we went on Air Saga, another great example. If you're offline for one corner, you are instantly putting yourself in the wrong spot for the next one up. So we talk about what's going to be required to making overtakes here. It is very much that aspect of 120 mile an hour chess, right? Thinking 5 or 6 corners, a couple of moves ahead, and figuring out, where can I get this guy? Where is he going to make a mistake potentially? Where will that put him offline? And where am I going to be able to capitalize on top of that as a result?
Yeah, and it's very tricky to be able to have that conversation with another driver out on the racetrack for the first time, you know, live while you're doing it. Mistakes are going to be made. Don't even mention it. The mistakes are going to be made. Accidents will happen, but hopefully the negotiations go well and you guys both learn something from that conversation of playing chess at 120, 150 miles an hour into the braking zone going in towards turn 11 here tonight. But it's just a great experience to have that interpersonal connection with someone, to be able to have that non-verbal communication with another human being and really spit that one out and say, hey, we're gonna make this one work, aren't we? And really make it stick in the end of the day, and without any use of VoIP or leaving a voicemail, sending a text message. It all happens in a blink of an eye. It really does, doesn't it? I mean, and through a simulator as well. In real life, at least you can get some sort of form of eye contact with the guy that you're about to go head to head with. In the simulator, you don't even get graced with that. You get digital eyes. Final 4.5 minutes left of this qualifying session as I get sappy over sim racing every week that we do this. I apologize, Jackson.
All good. Daniel still out in front. Josh trying to find something here in the 70 with Ollie trailing. Very close right now in row 2, by the way. Ollie and David just 35 thousandths separating themselves. Cody and Andres still trying to find a lot here to become some front runners. But once again, very, very fittingly, you see your championship 1-2 on the front row. And again, we know how much pace David has in the tank. We know what he can whip out, especially on race starts. Ollie very much in that picture as well. Luck certainly not his way. Luck and Andres, shall we say, not his way at Sebring. So definitely a potential for a podium in his future. Big slide on exit there. I believe that was David as well there, just a little bit up the road. And I think that driver is off. That was actually Carlos, who had a little bit of an excursion there coming out of turn 11. So with 3 minutes to go and these laps running in around the 144s, 145s, we've got about 2 laps to go here on the clock. So happy to have you with us one more time here for the MX-5 Cup in 2025. Jackson Lambros alongside Sagar Bakshi. Again, far from done here in 2025. Got one more, the big one, coming at you next weekend with the World of Racing Invitational out in Tustin. Going to be a very, very good show. 5 cars, 5 tracks, 5 combinations we do not know yet. And big, big cash prizes on the line. That'll be next Sunday, the 14th, right here on the World of Racing YouTube channel. You are not going to want to miss that. We've got a champion of our own to crown here, though, at Sydney International Raceway. Excuse me, Sydney Motorsports Park. And we're still trying to set the table here. David actually continuing to struggle right now and find pace. Just across the stripe once again, not able to find improvement. It's a quickest first sector here for Daniel, and this could be setting up some crucial insurance. Donovan working his way to the line in the red 11, improves on time but not on position, unable to catch up to Alberto. Coming up to sector 2 here is Daniel. We'll check in with him in a moment, but here comes Mark to the line trying to catapult himself deeper into the top 10. Not enough pace as well. Purple again in sector 2 there for Daniel, and over a 10th and a half at that. So this could be huge depending on the kind of pace we're seeing right now out of Josh. Looking at the live timing right now, about a 10th slower than his personal best, and Daniel could be on schedule to be half a second up. Let's see as he works his way to the line. We'll have one more opportunity after this, but you might not see a quicker one by a 143.990. Our first driver into the 143s. And Josh, who's already been struggling here to close the gap, just had had the task become even more troublesome. Josh, I believe, just coming to the line as well. Struggling as well. These guys are right next to each other on track. As a matter of fact, it's Josh right in front of Daniel. So some lead follow right now, certainly playing a factor, using each other for references, for turn-ins, for apexes, for breaking points. These guys are learning a lot from one another, but the question is, who's learning more from who? You got to imagine Daniel right now making the most of it, learning a lot from the guy currently in second. Not only is that being reflected in the leaderboard, oh my goodness, flight 70 ready for takeoff. One of the biggest crashes we've seen from Josh. And I think that was just some big time oversteer at the bottom of the track. You can see Josh already racing to try and get back out on track. I think he's allowed one more lap, but that is still not going to be enough speed at the start here for that to be a competitive time. So all of a sudden, we could potentially look to Ali, who is, a matter of fact, about a half a second down on time. Could potentially have something here. Checkered flag out in qualifying. Ali working his way out of turn number 1, has crossed the line in the nick of time. He is going to need a monster lap here to make something happen. Half a second to even make it possible, excuse me, over 3/10 to even consider a front row. Gonna need even more to stand on pole. Daniel just made that more difficult as well, as he improves to a 1:43.910. David as well on a flyer, a little bit of improvement, not on schedule to be enough though, just under 2/10 for him. Purple in sector 1 for Ali. Could the last one be the fast one here for the kid in the Pennzoil 72? This could be massive. In point accuracy required here at Sydney Motorsports Park. And Ali has been knocking on the door all weekend long. A little bit of a bobble there on the exit, but is able to gather it back up. How much did that hurt the Delta? He's unfortunately back over by about 3/10. And that puts him down by half a second overall. That is a major, major dagger to his lap time. Still one corner to go, though, as he works his way out of the final corner. Is there anything left in the tank for the 72 of Ali? To the line here as he works his way down the Brabham Straight to the checkered flag. 144.521 is improvement, but still, unfortunately, no cigar for moving forward. Will have to be kicking himself over what could have been. Josh and Daniel on the front row once again. Ali and David. It's not deja vu. It's the way they've lined up, almost identical to race number 1. Take a step away for just a moment, but we'll come back for the final MX-5 race of 2025. Stay with us. And just like that, it all comes down to this. One more race in the 2025 MX-5 Cup season. Josh and Daniel almost even on points. And it has truly, in Dubai style, come down to one more race. Lights are on, and for the final time, we're racing in the MX-5 Cup here at World of Racing. Watch Ali on the inside there from row number 2, the sister Pennzoil car, as they might try jamming it on the inside, but Josh tiptoeing around the outside here into turn number 1 will be able to keep it even. So too will David with Ali as we work our way down to the heavy braking zone of turn number 2 for the first time. Nearly 3 wide further back, as that's a little bit of a bobble from David. Big send to the inside there. Alberto in the black and gray, able to snake his way up into P4 as well. Big moves further back, but we are still side by side for the championship, and Daniel able to work his way through into the front. Further back, big clump of cars here as Andres continues to drop back big time, nearly on the outside there as they're working their way through turn number 6 for the first time. Cody on the inside. And what has already become a very narrow racetrack comes narrower when you're thinking of maybe going 3 wide. Big look to the inside there from Cody as Mark goes very, very wide there. Working our way down the hill into turn number 8. Almost 3 wide. That's a big shift further back from Carlos at the hairpin. Is he going to be able to get a twofer here? It'll certainly be at least one, with Anders getting to one of the highest speed sections of the racetrack here, 9 and 10. Are we going to be able to stay 2 abreast through here? No way. Whoa. Andres goes very wide. Oh my goodness. Tokyo drifting through turn number 11, and that will allow Ray to slide on through for P10. Gloves are coming off very, very early here in every single position as we start to battle, and we continue to battle as well at the front. Here we go once again. Daniel with a look to the outside, or excuse me, that's Josh on the outside. Same move he tried in the opening lap, again was on the outside of row number 1. Is there enough momentum? There is to clear him, but Daniel can get him back on the anchors. A little bit of a slide there from Josh, working through the hairpin of turn number 2. Daniel able to live for another corner. And this continues to battle as Josh continues to slave away at the outside, kind of forcing Daniel to take that defensive move in the first place. And I think you ask a lot of these guys, flinching alone and going offline and acknowledging them is giving them a chance to begin with. Obviously, you don't want to give that guy an opportunity to dive to the inside, but it's almost better if you know you have the pace to not flinch, because when you're leading and you're constantly defending, it'll bring everybody behind into the mix. For instance, look at Ali now, who's very much got a seat at the table. Josh with another peek to the outside, and Ali, you could see a big flick from that Pennzoil machine in third, tried to go at it, and then thought very quickly that was not the shot, Valentine. So decided to wait for another handful of corners. David right in the mix as well. Pretty much the same group of 3 we saw at Sebring, but Ali doesn't get the opening lap drama of Florida and is very much in this mix. 16 and a half minutes to go here in the grand finale of the World of Racing MX-5 Cup. This could be the move for the race. Josh with another peek to the inside. No contact between Daniel, but he does react with a little bit of a drag to the middle, and you can see how quickly Daniel is running to get to that apex. Big slide on exit from Josh as he covers down low. We'll go nearly 3 wide here, as here comes Ali on the outside, trying to work the long way around in turn number 2. Daniel not making it easy, but Ali able to make that move for second.
Ali with a well-executed move, executed with a little bit of extra patience as well, to make sure that he was in the right place at the right time, to not overdrive the car too much or to linger around in the fat waiting wings of your opponent for too long and be able to get struck upon, but no, just well executed overall for all the drivers. Beautiful over-unders, beautiful looks, beautiful racing room was given as well for all the combatants here tonight. Just well executed. That couldn't have said it better myself. Jackson Lambros with a perfect narration tonight.
and we do need to mention, I appreciate that, Soccer. We do need to mention, though, it has been incredibly clean so far tonight. Now, we've got a slightly thinner group of individuals here tonight. We've seen we've seen this league easily hit numbers in the 20s, but I think a lot of guys realizing they're out of title contention, deciding to sit this one out, has brought us down to only 11 cars out on track. But regardless, we've seen some incredibly close wheel-to-wheel racing, and the proof is really in the pudding. We saw it at Sebring. We're seeing it right now in what has very quickly become a 4 Miata freight train for the lead, and in the case of Josh and Daniel, for the championship. A little bit of a nudge there, it looked like, from Ali to Josh, trying to give them a little bit of insurance here. And here comes the two Pennzoils with a big peek to the inside. Ali leading Daniel down low. This will be one position lost with a little bit of help there further back from David. It could be two. Ali to the point, but for how long? The outside becomes the inside, and all of a sudden, as we work our way through turns number 3 and 4, Josh going to be able to work his way back to the point. The two Pennzoil cars further back going at it. Ali and Daniel with David further back, waiting to make a move, waiting for a mistake to try and split these two yellow and black Bumblebee cars.
Waiting for the mistake that may potentially never come, as the two Bumblebee colored machines, the black and yellow cars, look like they're forming a team and a hive, as it were, and trying to find their way forward past Josh and keeping Daniel in the wings. The 56 looks to the inside line, bows a little lower than I think the 72 would like him to. Took a look at that inside line, but the latter 72, Daniel, kept it calm, cool, and collected, and just nudged a little ahead. And that's Ali going off, trying to rejoin the racetrack right beside his not so well teammate in the Amsoil car. They're gonna go side by side down the straightaway. A little bit of elbows racing, rubbing is racing. No big deal, no big deal. As the 56 shows the 72 who's boss coming down the straightaway. And it will be single file being the order of operation. Daniel leads Josh, David, Ali, and Alberto in tow.
Ooh, big dive to the inside of turn number 2 for Daniel. I'm not sure if that was a defensive thing or maybe trying to get to the bumper of Josh there. I thought that was going to be too deep on the brakes, but is able to hold on to P2 for the time being. And in that drama from Ali, further back in turn 11, David is indeed able to become the meat of this sandwich for the two Pennzoil cars. Daniel now, very quickly, it had to be Daniel, now working his way to the championship, and it is indeed Daniel trying to make that move back for the lead, potentially for the title. Turn number 5 is where we'll do it again, coming out of Brock's 85 and down towards the hairpin. Daniel feeding the door to Josh, will get his way back into the lead, but once again, you gotta ask, for how long? Outside, becoming the inside. Josh just a little bit too deep. That sets up the switchback for Daniel. David right there now, trying to work around the outside. Didn't have to go defensive and can carry all of that momentum, but yes, he is. David able to work his way up into P2, and once again, the two Pennzoil machines able to find one another out on track. A little bit wide there from David, but this group constantly reshuffling. I feel like we've seen each one of these 4 cars in the front lead the pack, and we're not even halfway home yet.
Oh, you're absolutely right. One of the top 5, I believe, has all led this group of cars so far in this event, and we're not even halfway to the finish line just yet. This has been exciting. This is what MX-5 is supposed to do. Whoa! A little bit of bumping and banging. For good measure, rejoins the racetrack. The 56
Daniel's
a little
off.
bit deep. That'll be David who goes David off. Yes, Ali, Josh, and Daniel all clustering back together again. That was David, the one who got bumped off track, heavily on the brakes around the outside and lost it going into the hairpin corner.
Tried to rejoin at full song, and it bit him back immediately. He's still running, but he's found a far bigger freight train now, actually. Looks like that's with Donovan, Alberto, and Cody just a little bit further back. And that leaves us with 3 on track. A little bit wide there for Daniel coming out of turn 6. Boy, those guys have been playing chicken with those concrete barriers on the outside. That's how we saw the drama in qualifying from Josh earlier on. And once again, our 2 championship favorites continue to go at it. Halfway home here in the grand finale for the World of Racing MX-5 Cup, right here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And man, it has been an absolute doozy so far. Daniel just a little bit wide there. Everybody kind of following suit there, carrying a smidge too much speed into the penultimate corner. And as we work our way back onto Brabham Straight, this is crunch time for Ali to try and close that gap. Daniel's making it easy. You can see him go defensive here down low, weaving right and left, trying to break that toe from Josh right behind. Are we going to see a move from Josh? Goes to the outside. If there's enough momentum, this could become a switchback. Further back, big ship from Ali on the outside, going in the racing line. Nearly got into the bumper. Will go 3 wide nearly into turn number 1. Daniel very late on the brakes. Here comes Josh with another look to the inside, not able to get there just yet. And if these two continue to battle, you got to imagine how much longer are we able to be inch to inch with one another. How much does this reach the boiling point? We saw it happen already with David. It's such a brilliant battle for the championship so far, and you just got to hope it ends in handshakes and not heartbreak. But these guys, I reckon, will not have an issue doing this for another 8.5 minutes. Daniel continuing to defend on the inside, but continues to leave that door open for a switchback from Josh. He's too busy now, though, fending off from Ali. These two have nothing, or these 3, excuse me, have nothing but insurance now. 5 seconds back now. The next car, Alberto, the 24, back in 4th. That's the group that David has found, and it is continuing to get spicy. Daniel, the minute he's out of the corner, going down low, defending from a dive bomb. And while that is continuing to cover and give an opportunity for Josh for a switchback, he has not found enough momentum there in that red and white 70 to make a move just yet. We'll see if this is the time that changes. Starting to actually break away a little bit more now. Here's the move to the inside to defend. That will give the opportunity for Josh to go around the outside. Is there enough there to potentially close the door and make a run for the inside? No, that's going to be royalty here once we work to the braking zone of turn number 2. And Daniel continuing to go very, very deep on the inside, almost forcing Josh to stand on the brakes there and prevent a collision. And these guys continue to go back and forth. What a phenomenal battle, not just for a race win, but for a championship. And I'm not entirely sure what this championship picture is going to look like depending on who wins. But if we look back, I mean, you gotta imagine this could be Daniel's. If Daniel wins, I know as a fact Daniel's gonna walk away with this, but I'm not sure if Josh will have enough points to secure it coming into this. Only time will tell. And looking at the time, we've only got 6.5 minutes left to do it. Ali looking at the battle of a lifetime right in front of him. He's ready to potentially be an upset here and walk away with the win the same way David was at Sebring. You're now starting to see that second battle, though, further back come into view. Alberto, Donovan, that duo just coming out of turn number 6. And just coming out now. This is going to be commentator's curse, but you almost imagine we're starting to see things toned down a little bit at this point, Sagar, realizing that we should probably coexist and give ourselves a little bit of insurance to the guys behind before we throw haymakers. Of course, the minute I say that, Daniel with another look to the inside here with 5.5 minutes to go, and will have enough momentum to fully clear him for the lead. Door still open for a switchback. Ali tries the outside, not enough horsepower, though, in that four-banger Mazda engine to get there. Daniel goes a little bit too late on the brakes, though. He's been trying that move so many times to defend, and it finally gets him back. Josh, back to the point.
Josh back up into P1. Daniel P2. Ali goes into third. Alberto and Donovan fourth and fifth position. Don't throw out Ali just yet. He is still very much in the mix of this. I believe he is doing a great job of positioning himself within that spinning distance between that attacking range of P1. And there goes another move from Daniel into Josh, but standing on the brake pedal himself, slowing it all down to about nil. And getting back on the loud pedal again before the start of the next sequence of corners. We've talked about this before. When you get out of rhythm for one corner, you're really getting out of rhythm for a section of corners. The whole sector can almost be thrown away. But in these Mazdas, a little bit of forgiveness is granted here or there, despite the speed differential. But really, it is just critical to get all these sectors nailed down right. And these drivers, 1, 2, and 3 right now, Josh, Daniel, and Ali are putting on a clinic right now of how to get these corners just right dialed in. Here goes the 72 on the inside of the 70 side by side. Down the front straightaway we go for the 9th time of asking. The 72 will hold on, go around the 70, and Ali's going to try to work the very long way around the outside, but that's not going to work at all. He's going to brake a little bit earlier than most, trying to come back in, nip and tuck, single file with Daniel, but falls worse for wear, still holds on to third place behind Daniel in the 72 that's caught in the middle right now. Whoa, and there's a big bump in the rump that sends the 70 a little bit drifterino, and hopefully there's no damage incurred from that, because that 70 does not look like it's driving straight right now. I don't think he's got any damage. Perhaps just overheated those tires a little bit under the push to pass situation. 72.
Here's another peek to the here's another peek to the inside from Daniel. We'll see if there's enough momentum, but again, this will set up the switchback for the turn number 8 hairpin. And again, it was Daniel and Josh first and second after Sebring, but Josh with the fastest lap should be getting that extra 10 points. We'll try and get you guys a calculation when we throw the checkered flag here, but man, this is going to be close no matter how you slice it in terms of points. 7 wins on the year so far for Josh. This could be number 8 if he's able to get the job done. Daniel been very, very hot cold, getting about 3 on the year so far. But these guys very much ending on a high note. I'll tell you this, though. I'll leave further back if he's able to work his way not to a win, but to P2. If he's the meat of this sandwich, that is absolutely going to lock in whoever wins this race winning the championship. The point deficit car to car is simply going to be too big, I reckon, for us to be even. But even as I'm looking at this right now and trying to figure out what this is going to look like on points, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Fastest lap right now, though, is for Daniel. Big moment there, got contact with Josh and was forced to go sideways there, is able to gather it back up, and will go 2 abreast coming out of turn number 6. What a save, though, from Daniel. Not out of the woods yet, far from it. Couldn't be thicker into the woods here as Josh tries to get there. Makes contact with Ali, pushes him further down the racetrack, and the shoulders are very much starting to come out. 90 seconds left in the grand finale here for the MX-5 Cup presented by World of Racing. Big dive to the inside from Josh, trying to fend off for P2, and this is giving Daniel an opportunity to run away with it. We'll see if there's anything left. Anything left from Josh here, and if Ali is going to do anything to help him. If he wants a shot, he needs to give the bumper here to Josh. If he wants a shot at the win, a shot at even a runner-up position, it's going to have to start right now with getting on the bumper of that white and red 70. White flag is out. The final lap of the World of Racing MX-5 Cup. Daniel will be the first to the line. Who is going to lead them to the checkered? By and large, it'll be the guy who will be the champion. Who's going to be able to make that move? Ali looking to kick over some sandcastles in this championship fight, but stays in line. Further back, Alberto and Donovan going at it. We'll see who will come out on top further back there in the battle for P5, or P4, excuse me. Quick check-in further back, Alberto and Donovan going at it. That'll be a good fight. We'll pick up on that towards the tail end, but Daniel and Josh continue to go at it, and it is certainly possible to make a move here for Josh in the 70. Running out of time. You realistically have one or two more moves here. Turn 8 and turn 11. Here we go, though. He's going to waste no time, and we'll look to the inside. Contact again. Another big slide from Josh. Daniel goes wide. He's into the wall. He launches back onto the track and goes across. Ali will get to the front. That might be the mistake, the moment that defines a championship. Oh my goodness. Ali tries the outside into the hairpin, and that is certainly going to be looked at by race control. So much controversy. Unfortunately, that's stricken us at the very end of this race, at the very end of this season. Ali not able to get to the lead. And after some racing incidents, after some contact, the man who lost the battle at Sebring ends up winning the war in 2025. Checkered flag out at Eastern Creek, and Josh will run away with this as your 2025 World of Racing MX-5 champion.
Wow, just when you thought things were over and done with, things got a little bit more exciting for you here with World of Racing MX-5 Fight Night. Couldn't have been a better show that I could have bought and paid for. Wait, I didn't pay for this. No, it's still an amazing show, though. Almost got me again with that pay-per-view service. I'm just kidding. Ali leads over Donovan, Alberto, David, Andreas, Cody, Daniel, Ray, Mark, and Carlos round out the amazing combatants here tonight for MX-5 event. And Donovan's going to pull over and perhaps do some donuts for us, or
I think it's just taking it back to the pits, Sauger.
Gosh darn it.
Unfortunately. I know. I wanted it too.
Responsible human beings they are.
Yep. By the way, it was indeed Alberto who won that fight further back. As we continue to watch this, Alberto over David. There must have been, well, actually, obviously, Donovan got the promotion there with the incident from Daniel. So Daniel actually ends up crossing the line in P8. But man, that is absolutely going to deserve a look at. I'm not entirely sure who instigated it, but they were certainly banging doors coming out of turn number 6, and very similar to what we saw with Josh during qualifying. Looks like Daniel just got a piece of that concrete barrier and kind of skyrocketed across the track. Luckily, didn't collect Josh or Ali, or that would have made this a whole different ordeal. But as they stand right now, Josh Ferrer is, in fact, your MX-5 champion in the second go at it. And, I mean, no matter how you slice it here, Sauger, it was absolute cinema to the very end. Let's head back to the commentator's booth and unravel this race, unravel this pair of races, unravel this season. Some really, really great battles here, Sauger. I mean, just from the knee jerk, what do we even want to start unpacking here?
I think I want to start unpacking that we've done something that I think that World of Racing has done before in the past. They've done these level of series before. I think they have done them well. I think they've showed why people love to participate in them, and they're running them with great success going forward again. I was a little taken aback with, well, are the high-level drivers really going to want to participate in some lousy MX-5 stuff? But no, this has been some of the most phenomenal racing that I think I've seen across World of Racing's repertoire so far. And it's super competitive, and the ease to be able to get into the simulator and just start driving and turning laps is probably a lot quicker than it would be if you're doing a Formula One car or you're doing a GT car, perhaps. So I'm just super excited for this category of vehicle to stay in class for World of Racing drivers.
Certainly. And I mean, you look at the reason why Dale Jr., Earl Bamber, obviously some of the big names in NASCAR, Connor Zilish, Jesse Love, all these guys have kind of credited not just the time and the experience learned from it, but just how dang fun these cars can be. Because yeah, they don't have a lot of power. Yeah, they're not necessarily the fastest things out on track, but that's what makes it so fun, right? The ability to have clumps of 6 to 10 cars within a shot at winning the race. And it feels like week in, week out, or month in, month out for us when we come and do these MX-5 fight nights. We genuinely have a feeling where we don't know who is going to win. And I think another aspect of what World of Racing does to make this really special is you and I know this dang well. We're going to look in Discord. There's going to be a lot of debriefs after this, going over film, what Donovan does with the guys in the club, what he does with the drivers, and kind of learning from mistakes, learning to keep things fair, and from an officiating standpoint, how to do better moving forward, from both an officiating side, for the World of Racing guys, and from the driver's side, what each of the participants can do. When you rewind the clock back to the first club night races, back in the tail end of 24, back when we were still running the M235Is. It was a lot of film, a lot of film. And I imagine that a lot of these guys are going to be taking a look at the replays. And because of that, we got to tack an asterisk on Josh being your MX-5 Cup champion. I'm not entirely sure what the move will be there. And I still need to go back and see that incident myself. But regardless, the fact that not only do we have a title fight that goes down to the very end, but the fact that we've got a race that goes down to the very to the last lap, to the last corners, really has made this incredible to watch. But Sagar, we've been doing this for the entirety of the back half of this year. Your closing thoughts here from season 2 of the MX-5s.
Just a lot of gratitude. Thank you so much to World of Racing for having us on board. And thank you very much to all the drivers to continue to show up and show out and believe in what World of Racing is trying to do, build a community of drivers unlike any other out there on the planet currently. So thank you very much for all of you guys' love and support to support what we love and what we want to do. Thank you so much, everybody.
And again, the fact that we've got a lot of guys who quite possibly could be motorsport's future, some really cool former club guys, former MX-5 guys who have driven for us that are racing's history and still are racing's present. A lot of guys participating in SDC, doing a lot of club stuff, doing a lot of track days. So to see a lot of these guys jump between the virtual and real world is really, really cool. And it's nothing short of an honor to be a part of this community that we're developing, that's been started to be developed here in Southern California and is now stretching obviously to Phoenix and on to Kansas City. And of course, this World of Racing is going to keep on spinning. We're back at it. Myself and I believe Mike Naus will be with you this Sunday for the 2.4 hours of Nürburgring. And then I believe it'll be Sagar and Mike with you for the big one, the World of Racing Invitational, live at Tustin, with some big things on the line. It's time for us to take the keys out of the ignition here. And we thank you so much for watching. For everybody at the World of Racing and at aka Esports UK, he's Sagar Bakshi. I'm Jackson Lambros. Thanking you so much, not just for watching tonight, but for every single fight night here for MX-5s. And saying goodbye for now from the World of Racing.